Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. The Middle East has erupted into chaos tonight as three major powers, Russia, Iran and Egypt, have reportedly launched a massive missile offensive against Israel. The strikes, described as the largest coordinated assault in decades, have sent shockwaves through Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and across the world. Sirens are blaring, explosions light up the sky, and the region stands on the brink of an all-out war that could reshape global geopolitics. According to multiple regional sources, the first wave of missiles was launched just after midnight local time. Israeli radar systems detected hundreds of projectiles, some ballistic, others cruise missiles, coming simultaneously from the north, east, and south. Within seconds, Iron Dome batteries were activated, and Israel's air defense network went into full combat mode. But this wasn't just another rocket barrage. This was a multi-nation, high-tech assault, far beyond anything Israel has faced in recent memory. Eyewitnesses in Tel Aviv describe a sky filled with fire trails, explosions, and smoke. Dozens of interceptions were successful, but several missiles managed to strike key infrastructure, including power grids, military depots, and communication centers. Initial reports indicate heavy casualties and widespread destruction across southern and central Israel. Iran has claimed responsibility for part of the attack, calling it a retaliatory strike, for years of Israeli aggression and assassinations of Iranian scientists. Tehran state media hailed the operation as Operation Divine Justice. At the same time, Russian sources confirmed that Moscow provided logistical and satellite support, giving the operation real-time precision. Meanwhile, Egyptian state channels reported that their forces targeted Israeli positions along the Negev border, claiming it was a defensive counter-strike, following alleged Israeli drone incursions. The Israeli government has called this a black night for the nation. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has gone on record saying, "Israel is under a multi-front attack. We are at war." The Israeli Air Force has scrambled its F-35 squadrons, launching counterstrikes deep into Iranian and Syrian territory. Fighter jets have been seen streaking across the skies, while ground forces mobilize along the Gaza and Lebanon borders. Tel Aviv's residents are sheltering in underground bunkers as explosions continue through the night. Hospitals are overwhelmed, and emergency responders are working under constant threat. One resident told international media, "We've lived through wars before, but nothing like this. This feels like the end of something big." Experts believe this attack could mark the official collapse of deterrence in the Middle East. For decades, Israel's technological edge, its air force, intelligence, and defense systems kept its adversaries in check. But tonight, the balance seems to have shifted. Iran's advanced ballistic missiles, some believed to be hypersonic prototypes, reportedly bypassed certain layers of the Iron Dome and Arrow defense systems. Russia's involvement, particularly through cyber and satellite warfare, is suspected to have disrupted Israeli radar and GPS systems. Military analysts are calling this the first real test of Israel's new Iron Beam laser defense, which is said to have successfully neutralized some incoming drones, but failed to stop the overwhelming barrage. Meanwhile, the United States has been caught off guard. The Pentagon has raised the alert level for all its bases in the region. A U.S. Navy carrier group stationed in the Mediterranean is now moving closer to Israeli waters, while Washington has vowed to stand with Israel. But behind closed doors, American officials are reportedly in shock at the scale and coordination of this offensive. Russia's involvement adds a dangerous new dimension. For months, tensions between Moscow and Jerusalem have been quietly rising over Israel's stance on Ukraine and arms shipments to Kyiv. This attack may signal that Russia is drawing clear battle lines and is ready to challenge Western influence in the Middle East. Egypt's participation, however, is what truly stunned the region. After years of peace under the Camp David Accords, Cairo's direct engagement represents a historic reversal. Analysts suggest the move may have been driven by popular anger in Egypt over Israel's actions in Gaza and growing alignment with Tehran's axis of resistance. The United Nations has called for an emergency Security Council meeting, But diplomats admit that the situation may already be spiraling beyond control. Israel has vowed massive retaliation and warned neighboring states to stay out or face devastating consequences. Throughout the night, footage has emerged from Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria, showing fiery skies, intercepted projectiles, and the constant thunder of air defenses. Israeli jets are pounding suspected launch sites, while Hezbollah claims it has opened a northern front, launching dozens of rockets into Haifa and the Galilee region. In Tehran, crowds have gathered, chanting death to Israel, celebrating what they call the beginning of a new regional order. Meanwhile, Moscow's silence has been telling. No denials, no clarifications, just official state media describing the situation as the Middle East's inevitable correction. The question now, will this escalate into a full-scale regional war? Military strategists are warning that if Israel retaliates inside Iran or Russia-linked targets in Syria, it could trigger World War Roman III-level consequences. Both NATO and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization are on alert. Western intelligence agencies are tracking missile trajectories, cyber attacks, and military movements minute by minute. On the ground, civilians are paying the highest price. In Gaza and Lebanon, the Israeli Air Force has hit multiple residential areas suspected of hiding launchers. Dozens are reported dead, many more injured. Across Israel, schools and businesses remain closed and panic is spreading. The country's economy, already under strain, could face its worst crisis in decades if the conflict drags on. International reactions are pouring in. The European Union has called for de-escalation, while China has offered to mediate peace talks between Iran and Israel. But with explosions still shaking Tel Aviv and Haifa, peace seems like a distant dream tonight. For many Israelis, this feels like a turning point. The day when Israel's unmatched military dominance was truly tested. For the region, it may be the moment when decades of silent hostility finally erupted into open warfare. As dawn breaks, the full picture is still unclear. The Israeli Defense Forces claim they've intercepted over 70% of the incoming missiles, but the cost has been high. Entire neighborhoods lie in ruins. Military bases have been hit. Communication lines are down, and the world watches, stunned, as the Middle East burns once again. One Israeli analyst summarized the mood perfectly. We are witnessing the end of the old order. What comes next will define our century. This is more than just a military confrontation. It's a geopolitical earthquake. Russia, Iran, and Egypt have drawn a bold red line, daring Israel and the West to respond. The question now is not whether Israel will strike back, but how far it will go. The coming days could determine the future of the Middle East, and perhaps the stability of the world itself. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.